on to today's episode of Healthy Living, Happy Midlife. I'm Denise. I am the Menopause Mentor. And today I want to talk about mornings because for most women, especially those of us in midlife, mornings are supposed to be the part of the day that sets everything up for success, right? We're told an ideal morning. There should be a routine, right? And it's 30 minutes of meditating and journaling, and make sure you do your gratitude practice and exercise before work, stretch, do yoga, go outside no matter what the weather. And somewhere along the line, something interesting happened. I know this happened to me. What was meant to create peace in our life actually started to create pressure, right? And if we didn't follow this routine, we found ourselves feeling guilty, right? By the time you try to fit in all of those things, it feels like the day's already gone. I don't know about you, but I am not getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning unless I am getting on a plane going someplace fun and warm, right? So instead of calm and empowerment, we are feeling behind before our feet even touch the floor, right? Guilty for not doing it or missing something. Mentally exhausted before we even eat breakfast, which, oh, by the way, you're supposed to have breakfast, an hour after you get up, but before you work out. So how does that really work, right? And I understand that deeply. I understand this because I have lived it. I have done it. So a little bit about why this is important to me and what made me think, maybe this is something that everybody else is talking about or struggling with, not just me. But so, yeah, there was a morning not all that long ago when I realized that something just needed to change, right? I woke up, and if I woke up 10 minutes late, I was like, oh my God, I can't get my workout in because I'm 10 minutes late. It's going to put me behind, right? Right. I mean, I didn't even get out of bed yet, and I'm already freaking out about it. In my mind, I had this long list of what a good morning was supposed to look like, right? Again, the meditating, the journaling, the gratitude, the stretch, the this, the that, the blah, and all the other things that you may have been told is a good thing to do in the morning, right? But truly, instead of feeling at peace or calm, I felt pressure. It felt like restrictive, like I was failing just as the sun was coming up, right? And I remember sitting on the edge of my bed thinking, how did something that was supposed to be good for me to make me feel better start making me feel worse about myself about. So that morning, I didn't do my routine, right? I did something a little different. I closed my eyes. I took 5 slow breaths, and that was it. No timer, no journaling, no checklist, just breathing. And in those few minutes, something changed, something softened. My shoulders dropped. My mind became quiet. My body felt safe. And when I walked to the kitchen and I poured my coffee, because at this point I was drinking coffee in the morning, not just tea, instead of scrolling on my phone or planning the entire day, I just had a cup a minute ago. I just held my cup of coffee in my hands. I noticed the warmth, the smell of the coffee, and this is really good coffee. It's Kona coffee, literally from Kona. I noticed the stillness in the room, kind of before the world woke up. The rest of the world woke up, right? Nothing dramatic happened, right? But something truly small and powerful shifted inside of me. And for the first time in a very long time, morning actually felt like it belonged to me, not a performance or something I had to get right. There's so much of that in life that we have to do right. We have to get right. But morning routine, really? That is seriously when it hit me. Midlife isn't asking us to do more. Holy freak holies, midlife is definitely not asking that, right? It's inviting us to do things differently, more gently, more honestly, maybe even more generously, being more generous to ourselves, right? More in tune with the woman you are now. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. You're not supposed to be, right? That single breath that I took, that quiet sip of coffee in my favorite mug, by the way, became the beginning of an entirely new relationship with my mornings. And honestly, with myself. Most important, relationship, myself, right? Relationship, your most important relationship, yourself. Because healing in midlife rarely begins with something big and dramatic, right? It begins with something small, something done with kindness, with instead of pressure, right? The small things that we can do for ourselves. We often talk about it's the little things you do for people that they remember, but we don't do those little things for ourselves enough. And in midlife, it's time to do that, right? At this stage, we're balancing full lives, careers, families, relationships, aging parents, leadership responsibilities. And of course, at this stage in life, what else is happening? Your sleep changes, your energy shifts, your hormones are fluctuating every minute of every day. Those rigid routines that we used to do and we could manage, they don't feel supportive anymore, right? They're overwhelming. Like support should feel spacious, right? Not suffocating. And I was feeling that my morning routine was suffocating me. It just felt like it was pigeonholing me into a corner, and it just was very uncomfortable. And it wasn't fun. That's another piece of this. It's kind of supposed to be fun. There's supposed to be joy in life. You get up every morning, you have this brand new day, first breath of the day, you see the sun, the sky, the birds maybe singing, and that's joy, right? When we are stuck in these routines, we don't often even notice that the sun is shining and the birds are singing, quite literally, right? So instead of this strict morning routine, I have a suggestion. So I began thinking about this routine, right? And it's like, you got to do this and you got to do this and you got to do this. And it literally was like checking off a to-do list. But instead of a checklist, right? No perfection here, just options I'm going to give you. What about looking at morning, like having a menu, just something simple that you can choose, kind of like, you go to the restaurant, you can pick an appetizer, you can pick a main dish, you can pick a soup or a salad. So why can't we do something similar with our morning, right? Before you get out of bed, take 5 slow breaths. Maybe you say 3 things you're grateful for out loud or to yourself. Thank God, universe, spirit, divine for another day, right? As your coffee or tea is brewing, just be, right? Making tea, which I do after I've had my cup of coffee nowadays, gives us this rhythm, right? The water boils, takes some time to boil. Then the tea needs to steep. So if it takes, say, 2 minutes for the water to boil and tea takes 3 minutes to steep, you have 5 minutes to just be and to do something welcoming to you, whether it's looking out the window, whether it's breathing, whether it's saying gratitude or an affirmation, if those are things that you appreciate, right? These 3 to 5 minutes, if you're making your tea or your coffee, they already have this stillness built in, right? Maybe you stretch in your kitchen, right? No mat, no clothes. Ooh, little slip of the tongue there, huh? But you're standing in the kitchen. I do this quite a bit. If I'm waiting for the water to boil, I might do some stretches. If it's later in the day, I might do some, kind of wall push-ups, right? Again, it's just something that I can do that makes me feel good about me and about moving in a way that is comfortable. Yes, of course, I still do my workouts, but I don't feel now like I got to get my workout done. If I don't get it done by 8 o'clock in the morning, the rest of the day is screwed up, right? Do I slip back into that sometimes? Of course. But more often than not, 99% of the time, I just wake up and yes, I have a schedule. If my workout is scheduled 7:30 in the morning, great. If it's 8 o'clock, that's fine. You could step to the doorway, right? Look outside, look at the morning, helps your circadian rhythms, right? So we're moving, we're thinking, we're being, we're actually working with our circadian rhythm, with our mood, with our energy, with our central nervous system, right? All of these things are so important. One of the things I do when I get up and I have my coffee, I don't look at my phone for an hour. That is my goal. Caveat here, unless I am looking to listen to a specific meditation, there is a sound frequency that I like to listen to. It's peace and calming, actually. My friend Sarah Sparks gave it to me. She sent it to me a long time ago. And it's something that I listen to several mornings a week because it just helps me to calm my nervous system, to make me feel good about me as my day starts. So again, I just sit there, sometimes listening to the music, sometimes not. No phone. I'm not planning anything. Maybe I'm sitting there and I'm just there, just being present. Maybe I am thinking about something, but it's not deep thinking, right? It's not hard thinking. It's just being. Maybe I'm thinking about this weekend when I'm going to be with my family. Wow, that's going to be fun. Again, that's not hard thinking, but it's being and kind of being present to the thoughts and feelings I want to have when I'm with my family. If my mornings are crazy and I get there and again, everything is, busy, I got to get all these things done. Oh, wait, no, I'm away. I'm not going to get all my routine done. If that's the energy, that's not going to be fun for me. It's really not going to be fun for them. So think about that. How does your morning routine affect the people around you, right? The goal of this morning is not about productivity, right? The goal is nervous system safety. And I've talked many times about your nervous system and cortisol and how that affects us negatively in midlife as we're going through menopause, right? This menopause transition, there's a lot going on there. The last thing we need is to have our cortisol, spike at first thing in the morning, right? That's not when we need it to spike. We need it to increase gently rather than jumping up out of bed because you have the alarm. And that to me is like the saber-toothed tiger we always talk about, running away from a saber-toothed tiger. Waking up to an alarm to me is the same thing. That completely sets your nervous system on high alert, which is not what we want. Mornings without pressure, so our cortisol rises the way it's supposed to rise, right? Gently. This stabilizes your cortisol, improves your mood, and your energy just becomes steadier. It's not so sporadic, right? How you enter the morning is how your body, how your nervous system enters the day, right? You're influencing your biology here, not just your behavior. So that's something to really think about. You're influencing your body, your biology, not just your behavior. Okay. So how many successful women do you know? Those of you who are listening, every last one of you, right? How many successful women do you know push, achieve, and do all the things to perform, right? Morning pressure is often just an achievement. Culture is basically putting on us, showing up as quote unquote wellness. It's not. It's just another achievement. It's just another checklist. It's just another to-do thing, right? But in this season in life, midlife, menopause, your body wants something different. And I invite you to do something wiser. Let's think slowness. Let's think presence. Self-respect. If we respect ourselves, others will respect us, right? If we don't respect ourselves, how can others respect us? And that doesn't mean that they're consciously being disrespectful, but the way we treat ourselves is a reflection of the way others treat us is a reflection on the way we treat ourselves. So treat yourself with kindness, right? Compassion for yourself, love for yourself, right? Not forcing anything, simply just, standing in the light of the sun. Like as the sun rises, gently, calmly, so do you. So I always say this, you do not need you don't need perfection. Nothing in midlife is about perfection. So you don't need a perfect routine, right? You don't need any more willpower, right? Got a boatload of that. But what you need is one small moment of care that tells your body you're safe. This day is yours, right? This is your day. And when mornings begin in this way, something amazing happens, right? You don't just change your morning, you change the chemistry of your body. Yes, there's a lot going on in there, right? And all of the hormones that we have affect our mood, and they affect the way we sleep, they affect the way we act, the way all of the things, like our energy, right? When you change your chemistry, you have steadiness when it comes to your mood. You have clarity when it comes to your thinking. And the way you walk into the rest of your life, the rest of your day, when you walk into the room, you walk in with presence, you walk in with confidence, you walk in with a warm energy that is attractive to people. So, helping women come home to themselves again, one gentle morning at a time, is truly the work that I do. If this story of mine sounds familiar, if it resonates, that quiet exhaustion, pressure to do everything right, even when you don't feel good, you're not sleeping, your energy is all over the place, right? This may be your moment to do things differently, right? You don't need more effort. You need support that works with your body, with your hormones, and this season in life, midlife, because menopause changes things. And this change is the natural change. We have to learn how to work with it, not against it. So if you are ready to make this change, comment ready in the comment section, and I will send you the menopause hormone self-assessment. This is something that I think is really important because we think we have one thing going on, but what we realize when it comes to menopause, that there are so many things happening at the same time. And we want to make sure that we are clear on what to address first. So thank you everyone for listening. If this episode resonated with you, or someone who needs to hear this, please make sure you share and subscribe to this station. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you next time.